Kate from Kate&Barrel Designs here. Today, I wanted to pop on and show you guys how to use SaltWash to create a kind of rustic textury finish on some of your pieces. So I'm going to be utilizing these candlesticks. I picked these up at a secondhand store. Somebody, I think, has already kind of abused them a little bit. They're not expensive or quality or anything like that, but they're great to kind of do a fun little project, upcycle, and do something different. So I'm gonna go ahead and I think the colors I'm gonna use, I like to change things on the fly sometimes, right? So I think I'll be using Bone, Wise Owl Bone, Wise Owl Mermaid Kiss, and Wise Owl Saffron Thread. So I also have some chip brushes. I don't like to use my super nice brushes, so I just have brand new chippy brushes that I'll use and just be able to toss when I'm done. I've got just my little 10-ounce tin of SaltWash to be able to work with. It comes in a 10-ounce and also a 42-ounce if you want that big one for bigger projects. And then I've just got some plates because I'm not going to be mixing a ton of product. And just word to the wise, I don't measure. I'm really bad at measuring. I kind of just go off of feel and texture. So I'll kind of walk you guys through that as much as I possibly can. Worst case, if you really want to measure everything out, directions are on the can to be able to measure everything. It's usually, I think it's 3/4 part of SaltWash to 1 part paint, if that makes sense. So basically I'm going to start with my lighter base. So I'm going to be starting with, actually I'm going to start with saffron thread. Why not? Okay, we'll just go big and go bold. All right, so I'm going to start with my base, and it's going to be saffron thread because that's what I just decided. And I've got my spoon, got my mixers right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a little bit of paint on here, okay? And then I'm just gonna bring in, ooh, there's my scooper. Yay, thought I had a scooper in here. This is a brand new one, sorry, I forgot. And I'll just go ahead and put in 1 scoop to start. Take my mixer. Basically you wanna get kind of like a brownie, like battery feel. You do make a mess with this stuff. A bowl is probably the better option, but I couldn't find my bowls, so I improvised with my plates. Like I said, it's gonna end up going everywhere. But it's gonna give me a really cool kind of like batter feel, like I'm making brownies, right? Kind of feel when you start getting all those brownies mixed up. So this is the kind of goopy consistency that I'm getting. Which is perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and take my chip brush. Let's start with the little one right here. I won't be getting any SaltWash in here because I don't want any bumpies or anything like that on the top. I want it to be smooth. Basically what I'm gonna do is just paint on. And I kind of like pounce it on there too. With chip brushes, you're gonna get little sheds, right? Little things shedding, but that's okay. And this is gonna have a ton of texture. So here's the thing, I chose the saffron thread as my base because I actually don't want it to be a main color. It's just gonna be like a little accent color. So what's gonna happen is when I go to paint and bring in the other colors, this color will then get covered up. But I'm getting a lot of texture in there for sure. And it's going to take a little bit longer for this to dry. So we're going to be working in some phases. I love this too because it can kind of give you like stone finish quality, a rustic-y finish quality, a sea salt type quality, obviously. But it's a super fun way to kind of add some cool texture. I'm just gonna go around the lip up here, but I'm not painting on the inside. Now that I've painted the entire thing, I'm gonna have to grab this and move it, put it over here. I'm just gonna add, I stuck my little fingers. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do it this way. And I've got a ton left, so I should have plenty to do all three in the saffron thread. Actually on this one, I think I'm just going to do partial, so not a full coverage like I did on the little one. Because I can bring in so notice how goopy your chip brush gets. See, I've got little sheds coming off, so I'm just gonna pull those out of the way. All right, so let me move this out of the way. And then we'll do the last tall one. And I'll use that for the remaining saffron thread that I've got going on here. This is also super cool to be able to use with glazes, waxes, to do that final kind of rustic. It gets all in those crevices. The more texture you have, the more depth and range kind of gives your piece, right? Just remember too though, the thicker you go, the longer your dry time is going to be. So plan your projects accordingly so you don't get upset that it's not finished right away. Okay. How's that look? There we go. Alrighty. So this is drying already, which is great. Set that aside. I'm going to speed up the process a little bit. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to do my mermaid kiss next. I don't have a ton in here, so hopefully I have enough. So I'm gonna do kind of like a different kind of, like I'm actually gonna brush this on. So it's thick. I'm not using a ton of it. And I'm still letting some kind of like a saffron thread come through because I'm doing more of a light brush to kind of get the color on there. Some parts I'll go heavier. Remember, I've still got bone. Okay, so this is what it looks like so far. Let's see. So I'll go heavier on this one in the spots that I didn't cover last time. So this is going to be slightly different. Remember, you can use any colors. So just because these are the colors I'm using and that this is the way that I'm doing it doesn't mean that you can't use a different color scheme or do a different technique to get a different effect, thin it out more, make it even thicker if you wanted to. Do like a more stone finish, not so bright on the colors would have been fine. So like your grays, your whites, even your blacks, your brown, your chocolate. And I am rushing this a little bit for the video, so just keep that in mind. You would have a longer dry time. There we go. So they all look a little different, which is great, but they all kind of have the same scheme going on, right? So I think for the last one, I'm actually not gonna really put a lot of salt wash in it at all, to be honest. I'm just gonna do a tiny, tiny little bit. So just a little bit to give it a little bit of a thickness, but maybe a little more. But other than that, for the bone, it's gonna be pretty thick. So we've got a lot more paint. I'm gonna go ahead and actually dry this a little bit. Is just kind of doing a heavier dry brush. So I'm actually almost hiding, right, all the colors that I just put in there. But those colors gave me all that texture. Go ahead and get in here now. Just a little bit. So I want to get a little more here. And if I didn't want that kind of rustic-y orangey, all I would have had to have done was just do the 2 colors, not 3. Okay, so I'll go ahead and grab some more paint. And then I'm just gonna go a little heavier than I wanted to there. That's okay. I actually hit a wet spot, so that's why you wait. So now I've got some kind of saffron thread hue, right? So there's that one. And let's see how this one, ooh, this one's still pretty wet. one now. So I move kind of up and down, and then I'll go horizontal a little bit. Alright, so there we've got 1, 2, 3. So now the question is, how do you want to finish it, right? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually get some brown or black walnut wax and get it in there. You could also, I could do black walnut glaze, so I could do a varnish and then do a glaze overlay on it, which would look really cool as well, which I might actually do. So let's wait for these to dry and we will be back. I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, so we are back. I went ahead and actually did a sanding. I have a Surf Prep Pro sander, but you could just use a hand sander too if you wanted to, but kind of just went in and smoothed it out so it's not so rough, and it actually gives it, it's still textured, but it just feels like nice and smooth to the touch. So that's what they ended up looking like, all dry. So now what I'm gonna do is take some black walnut wax. So Wise-All black walnut wax. I put open on it so I know it's open. So mine looks like this right now. And I use these 1-inch round brushes all the time I use them for stippling, and then I like to use them for my color waxes. So my black wax and my black walnut wax. And then also my white wax is what I use it for. So I just basically am gonna go ahead. I have not clear waxed these. So this sometimes is kind of like a, oh my gosh. I want to go really heavy though, so that's why I haven't clear waxed them. So we'll kind of see what happens. We'll do an experiment, but it should be completely fine not being clear waxed, and I'll still be able to wipe off. So I've got a shop towel so I can do my wipe off, and we'll just go ahead and have some fun, right? So I've got some on there. So on there, and I'm gonna go ahead and wipe off. So a little bit darker than I wanted, but never fear. Here's the cool thing that I can do. So I'm gonna grab my clear wax. Life happens. And I'm gonna clear wax over it. So what that does is that just lifts, see? So you can always fix, right? There you go. And I actually really like that. So it's getting all into the cracks and crevices and everything. And look at how cool that looks now. So awesome. So I'm super excited about that actually. So this is kind of a little bit of a reverse of what you would normally do, right? You normally clear wax first and then you do your darker wax. But you can also reverse it. Wise-All wax is way more forgiving. I have found, at least. than other waxes. So you have more kind of workability time with it, which is really nice. And you have the ability to do this. So I'm just taking clear wax and I'm basically doing a wipe off. So it's gonna look so different. And it's creating that kind of like rusticy. And if you don't want this rusticy look, then you don't have to do this step, right? You could just seal it with clear and be done. If you wanted something to be sparkly, you could have added like a metallic glaze, like a bronze metallic glaze, or do a whitewash glaze would be pretty. Wouldn't be metallic, but so, and what it's actually doing too, which is kind of cool that I really like, it's really bringing out the mermaid's kiss underneath. So it's allowing those colors underneath to bring it out even more and be kind of even brighter. But the SaltWash is really allowing for that texture and that grippiness. So this final step drastically changes the look and the feel of these. So look at the difference. So fun. So I love it. So instead of doing that reverse over and over and over again, I'll do the easiest thing, right? Which is clear wax. Clear wax first. That's clear wax now. You can see the big difference, right? Okay, clear wax. Put that away. I'm gonna grab a clean shop towel. And down here. Quick excess wipe. It soaks in though, really nice. Not much excess. The SaltWash kind of just sucks it in with all the paint. Okay, so remember, look at that. I mean, just look at the difference of them already. Such a cool difference. So let's go ahead and rustic this one up. Move this out of the way so you guys can see. Sorry. Go ahead and do my wipe off. And again, if I'm like, oh, it's still too much, right? I'm gonna bring my clear black in, back in, and do more of a wipe off if I want to. But the workability is a little bit different when the clear is already on the base. Just kind of go around it. So I'm gonna go ahead and open this up. I'm like, ooh, I don't like the base. It's a little too dark, right? Got a clean spot on here. You see? And it lightens it up even more, okay? Through even more. So doing a final wax and glaze on a piece, let's say, really changes the whole entire look and feel of the piece, to be honest. So if you're not 100% sure, or you're not maybe as brave as I am sometimes, I have the tendency to just dive right in. And it's not a bad thing to not dive right in. I'm not saying that that's a right thing to do. But it's definitely one of those things where if you're nervous about it and you don't know how it's gonna look, just do a sample board, you know? But I really love. The camera doesn't even pick up all the cool rustic-y accents that's going on with this. Like, look at that. So fun. So we'll go ahead. And you don't need a ton. You don't need a ton of wax. I mean, you can lay it on really thick if you want to. I kind of like doing it like this, almost like where I'm doing a dry brush over it. And I'm still getting in there, right? And I love too how each one is the same but not the same. So each candlestick is slightly different. So you know it wasn't manufactured to look the same. This is actually done, you know, by hand and is truly a one-of-a-kind kind of creation, right? But how fun is this? Such a fun, easy, one-day project to play with. You can get these so easily at secondhand stores. Even, I mean, you can even find good deals on stuff like this at Michael's. Let's just say it's like a plain Jane kind of thing, and you want to make it something unique and update it to kind of your color scheme or whatever that may be, instead of just straight off the shelf the way it is. And you can do that with these. And again, the SaltWash, the colors that we chose on this one, it's almost like a patina but not a patina, which I really like too. So it's not super patina-y. Sorry, I had an itch on my nose. But again, you just bring in that clear wax and it just lightens it up even more, right? And there you have it. So fun. How cute is that? So I hope this helps. I hope this helped you guys see kind of how you can use SaltWash and play around with SaltWash with different colors, and a couple different techniques that I threw in here for you guys as well, with applying wax, clear wax, dark wax, or the black walnut wax. So kind of playing around with colors and things like that, and just having fun and trying something different maybe that you haven't tried before. So if you like this video, I'd love it for you guys to give me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. And please check out my other videos on my channel. And if you want to purchase products, I will put that in the link. You can get your SaltWash from Kate&Barrel along with your Wise Olive products as well. So until next time, thanks so much, you guys. Bye.